Did you know that these paintings that decorate the ceilings of a grand Shiva temple are the finest example of 16th century mural painting in India? Hello, I'm Madhavi Sardesh Pandey, an artist, art historian, and technology futurist. Welcome to my channel Indian Aesthete. Today, I want to share with you the beautiful masterpieces of Indian mural painting on the ceilings of the Virabhadra Temple at Lepakshi in Andhra Pradesh, which is just a couple of hours drive away from Bangalore. Before I start, can I request you to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel? The Virabhadra Temple is a gem of the Vijayanagar style of architecture. While it existed in an early form in the late 15th century, the current form and its murals were commissioned by Veerapanna, a royal officer at the court of the Vijayanagar Emperor Achyuta, who ruled from 1520 to 1542. This temple is celebrated for its architecture, sculpture, and paintings. But in this video, I'll focus on only the ceiling paintings as they are unique. While they have been partially destroyed, they still give us a rich glimpse into the daily life, religious beliefs, and the aesthetics of the medieval period in Andhra Pradesh. The temple is dedicated to Virabhadra, a fierce form of Rudra Shiva, which he assumed in order to slay Daksha. This figure is shown heavily armed and decorated with mundamalas or a garland of skulls, and is sometimes accompanied by his consort Bhadrakali. The Veerashaiva cult, founded by Basavacharya and spiritual leaders in the 12th century, had become popular with rich trading families in the Karnataka-Andhra region in this period. Many of the stories narrated in the ceiling paintings draw on stories related to this ferocious form of Shiva. We already saw a scene from the Kirata Arjunam showing the hunting of the boar. There are others like the marriage of Shiva and Parvati, and many of the themes show a multitude of Shiva ascetics in a variety of hairdos and garments showing their devotion to Shiva. There are also a few stories from popular legends of the time. One story describes how a cow seeks justice from King Manunadhi for the death of her calf due to the carelessness of the prince, the son of the king. Manunadhi ordered that his son be punished with death. Ultimately, Shiva restores the dead prince and the dead calf. Likewise, there are other stories from the Tamil region, so we know how closely knit the cultures of these adjacent states were at that time. Some striking characteristics of these paintings are the strong, sinuous lines which are used with great felicity to outline the characters, as well as to create a web of design. Every part of the painting is built of this delicate, curving and graceful lines. Look at the details of the palms and fingers or toenails and the intricate patterns on the garments. Let's look at the compositions. The spaces are two-dimensional and have been packed with characters that tell the story in a continuous narration form. For example, we see the figures of Shiva and Parvati multiple times in the panels, which merge the scenes into each other seamlessly. Devotees familiar with the stories could easily identify and enjoy what was happening in the scenes. The entire composition uses the elements of garments, jewelry, parasols, hairstyles as a well-designed mesh and creates a coherent visual matrix. The decorative bands on the architectural members, like beams and lintels, add beauty to the scenes. The poses of the standing human figures that are supposed to be walking are shown tilted slightly at an angle, as if they are swaying backwards. It is a pity that we don't have more examples of this sort of early 16th century painting, especially of the quality and numbers that we see at Lepakshi. Similar murals are seen at the Sumapille temple of the same period, which is not far from Lepakshi, and the Srirangam temple in Tamil Nadu. But the paintings at both these temples are in a really bad state of preservation. However, the Sumapille paintings show the further protruding eye that disappears from the visual language in the later part of the 17th century. The only other examples from this period have been destroyed. At another temple in Karnataka, they have simply disappeared under a coat of oil paint after sandblasting. and at this Jain temple in Tamil Nadu, they have been restored very poorly. The Virabhadra Temple at Hampi, the capital of the Vijayanagar Empire, has ceiling murals which are slightly later, perhaps from the late 16th or early 17th century. These have a more static compositional style. Here the scenes are divided into panels and the figures do not have the flowing grace or dynamic compositions that we see at Lepakshi. Neither do we see the popping further eye in the figures here. It seems that the Artist Guild at Hampi had different aesthetic values and were closer to the Eastern Andhra style. In fact, compositionally as well as in the figure and line renderings, art historians have noted that there are a lot of similarities between these murals and the palm leaf manuscripts from Gujarat. Notice the further eye popping out. In many of the manuscripts, there's some attempt to show the cheek under the protruding eyeball. At Lepakshi, that part of the cheek is not shown. Instead, the corners of the eyes are shaded. It should be noted that the second eye is not seen in the manuscript paintings from North India at this time. Take a look at these paintings from a Chora Panchasika and a Bhagavad Purana manuscript of the early 16th century. This drawing style is also visible in a rare 15th century manuscript from Gujarat of the Durga Saptashati, which is even more similar to our Lepakshi paintings. In fact, this is the only manuscript painting that displays the dynamism and free, flexible drawing style seen at Lepakshi. How do we explain the similarity between the Gujarat miniatures and the Lepakshi paintings? Actually, it is the Jain miniatures that have been well known, so everybody compares them to Lepakshi. If you look at the Moodbidri folios of Jain paintings from the Hoysala period, or even the Pala miniatures from Bengal, both from the late 12th century, the further eye is visible in both. But it is not weirdly popping out as it does in the 15th century miniatures or in the contemporary South Indian murals. So it appears to be an exclusive feature of the 15th to 17th century painting in Western and South India. Now let's look at the unique color palette used at Lepakshi. It is mostly earth colors, browns, yellows, reds and green used sometimes for certain important figures. Blues are totally missing. Blue pigments and gold were used in miniature paintings because they were expensive colors made out of ultramarine and real gold. So they could be used for small paintings but not for large murals. Our Lepakshi artists prefer to use more yellows and browns and strong contrasting patterns using black against white. Some paintings in the interior have brighter and more vibrant colors, so it is possible that originally all paintings had a brighter palette and more vivid colors which have faded over time in the exterior parts of the Natya Mandapa. The delicacy of the patterns on the garments and the rendering of the fine jewelry and hairdos makes it clear that the Lepakshi artists were not on an ordinary mission. Their brief was to create an opulent rendering of austere stories highlighting the glory of Virabhadra Shiva. Paradoxically, these figures are heavily adorned with jewelry even if they are shown performing penance in the forests. The artists have used the entire spectrum of their imagination to add variety in the treatment of the figures. In the hairdos of the various Shaiva ascetics, the caps and mukutas of the royal figures, the weaponry and the ornaments and garments of both men and women. What is most interesting is that for the first time we see the patron Veerapanna and his brother Veeranna with their retinue paying obeisance to Virabhadra and his consort. The figures of the deities have been badly damaged, but the way it is depicted puts Veerapanna and the other mortals in the same narrative plane as that of the gods and characters from epic stories, thus elevating their status from mere mortals to godlike creatures. Notice the tall caps worn by Veerapanna and his retinue. These are called kulai and have lotus, palmettes, pomegranate and split leaves motifs. According to Bridget Majlis Khan, a scholar who has done extensive research on the garments seen in the murals, these brocade caps were worn by nobility and, like the Sultanate-inspired costumes, were probably imported from Venice, Ottoman Turkey or Safavid Iran. The grandest mural at Lepakshi is of Virabhadra on the ceiling of the inner Mahamandapa. The rendering of this massive image is theatrical and awe-inspiring. Again, Virabhadra is flanked by small figures of Veerapanna and perhaps his wife and daughter, as well as the ram-headed Daksha. The pose and treatment of this huge image is similar to the sculpture of Virabhadra at the Uddana Virabhadra Temple at Hampi. I'm happy to say that this large mural has been restored last year by the ASI and now looks much more vivid. In summary, the art of Lepakshi is unique because of the fluid lines, the dynamism seen in the compositions, and just the joy and vivacity and the celebratory mood that the paintings evoke. No crudity or trials and errors here. The experienced hands of the artists glide across the surfaces, bringing them to life with amazing legends and stories that were dear to their patrons' hearts. Remember that the artists painted these murals while lying on top of a platform, and drawing and painting in this position is not easy, to say the least. The architecture and sculptures at Lepakshi too are amazingly unique, and both aspects deserve separate videos dedicated to them. As you can see, there's an integral design of the sculptures and all the decorations on these surfaces. This sense of integral beauty that you see in a 16th century temple like Lepakshi has hardly ever been seen before this. Also, it has been done in a compressed time of about 20 years, all that we see here. As an Indian, you'll probably own some garments or rugs with kalamkari designs from Andhra, either hand block printed or painted. The sari that I'm wearing also has similarly so-called kalamkari designs. You've noticed the continuation of this tradition from the past. Notice the curlicues, the delicate yet bold patterns that still remain in our clothes after 500 years. Also, many garments of the characters show some of the traditional weaving patterns still visible in the beautiful saris from this region. I'd also like to show you this book titled Lepakshi Architecture, Sculpture, Paintings. The authors and editors including Anna Dalla Piccola, Bridget Khan Magendis and George Michel with John Fritz have brought together many prominent aspects of Lepakshi in the recently released book that has gorgeous illustrations. This has enabled me to look at the fine details in the painting and to understand the history, narrative stories and architecture much better. Another resource to enjoy and explore the paintings at Lepakshi is the website of the International Institute of Art, Culture and Democracy, or IIACD, a Bangalore-based non-profit research institute. The website, the link to which is in the description of this video, has an interactive plan of the temple's paintings. You can zoom into the paintings and check out the line drawings. You can also understand the stories that they narrate and learn more about the ornaments, hairstyles and other cultural aspects. What do you like about Lepakshi? I know so many people have been here but have not been really able to appreciate the paintings and the top of the ceilings simply because of the crowding and the lighting and all that. I think this is a beautiful place and you should visit this. Let me know if you enjoyed the short glimpse into the mural painting at Lepakshi. Do drop a comment if you'd like me to make videos on any specific masterpieces of Indian art. Thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video.